Watch that right there on the floor. Tim, you see this?
I was anxious to put distance between me and this place, Central State. But I had this feeling that I had opened up some mystic doorway, not knowing who or what would serendipitously come through from the other side.
Often places familiar in the present seem to resonate with the past. Emotions imprinted in bricks and mortar, steel and cloth, waiting for some human igniter to release its energy. What are these places that hold these souls in time? What veil do spirits pierce to communicate? What force drives them? Is it to comfort or something more sinister? The classic battle of good and evil waged on the spiritual plane. What are these tales, these ghost stories? And are we truly forever walking with the dead?
When a person dies, there's a process that they go through that is similar to the process of going to sleep, that they withdraw their attention from the physical body, from the physical senses, and we call it withdrawal. They withdraw from the physical body or the physical form.
An awful lot of people can be slightly, to put it lightly, it can be the mind. The mind is like a fascinating thing.
Right here. It starts right over there, and then it comes right here.
You find different things, and as you, again, peel away the layers, it explains why this was here, why did they do this. You find paint colors, you find clues of what used to be.
One of the spirits has nothing to do with the movie theater. It has to do with the original courthouse that was here, the original purpose and intent of this building, other than, so I'm having to separate out what the intention and purpose of this land, because there's a layering of energy in the way I perceive things.
And that's actually part of what we teach, is to become what we call a whole functioning self, which is being able to be aware of existence in all levels of consciousness simultaneously.
There's a very popular lady by the name of Irene Petro, who was known as lovingly as the popcorn lady, and manned the concession stand for many, many years. And after Irene passed, a new set of workers came in and were working the concession stand, and as they had all of their popcorn buckets stacked up, they turned to go and do something else, and all of the popcorn buckets blew off the counter. So they assumed it was just some breeze or whatever and restacked them, and it happened again.
It's trance, so there's different states that you can actually send your body into. So you don't go and meet them, basically they come and meet you, and it's what we call a blending. It's a blending of spirit, our spirit with their spirit.
And there's almost like a guardian that stands with this original place.
Has not been anything bad or negative.
There's a playful spirit that keeps following me. When we were downstairs, when we first went downstairs, I felt something brush my hair and tap me, but it wasn't a negative spirit.
I've come across very, very few what you would class as evil spirits. A lot of spirits will bang, knock, throw things because they want attention. You know, they're attention seeking.
you can sense a presence.
This was a theater in 1922. Something was here. They did, you know, who knows what went on.
Yeah.
I felt children.
Well, we heard like a baby crying earlier, right?
Especially when you're cleaning the theater by yourself. I've several times felt like there was somebody next to me going to say something to me, and I turned to look for one of my colleagues, and there's nobody there.
What happens with most people is that those worlds are very separate, when the truth is we all exist with many different dimensions of consciousness. It's just that we're not aware of them.
It's a witch's circle.
What have you heard about it?
Area supposedly used by black witches, those dabbling in the black arts.
Seances on Halloween or full moon nights.
Okay, like tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is multidimensional. It has 7 levels, and I think the experience that most people are the most familiar with is the relationship between waking state and sleeping state. That when somebody goes to sleep, they're not dead, however, they're not aware of what's going on around them physically if they're in a deep state of sleep. So it's not that there's anything wrong with their sense of sight or hearing, but they're not aware of the sights and sounds around them, and they're alive and they exist in a different realm or a different dimension.
Not seen anything yet.
Look at this thing. What do we got?
I had a 35mm camera on a tripod. I had high-speed film. I had 1,000 speed film. Set my 35mm camera because we knew somewhere here was the issue. Thermal scanner, and was just walking around in this general vicinity like this, taking readings. And about that time of night, it was about, again, around 51 degrees. 51, 55, I mean, we went up to 60 on a couple of them, which is pretty normal. There's going to be variances. And then she's walking along, and she's about right in here. And 20 degrees, 15 degrees.
What you have to do is look at the phenomena behind the haunting.
How can you have a pocket of 20 degrees when everything around you in the entire universe is 51 degrees, 55 degrees? That's not normal. And that's what the study's all about. When you find an abnormality, you take a picture. So when she's reading these readings, I took a picture.
When a person dies, there's a process that they go through that is similar to the process of going to sleep. They withdraw their attention from the physical body, from the physical senses. They withdraw from the physical body or the physical form.
I took several pictures that night. Most of them was absolutely nothing in them. 2 of them had 2 orbs.
There are attachments that they still have, particularly emotional attachments, either to a person or to a place, that they stay entrapped, kind of bound to either a particular place or a particular person.
One of them, right here. And it's hard to see when you first look at the picture. It's hard to see. In fact, I overlooked it until I said, well, I didn't get anything that night.
This area right here, for some reason.
I was disappointed because I looked through the pictures and didn't see a darn thing. And the person looking at the pictures, well, what about this one right here? What about those 2 women walking in the graveyard? And I said, what 2 women?
These spirits seem to be locked in a moment, perhaps on the way to some important event, interrupted by the tragic twist of fate.
And it's kind of funny, the 2 prior pictures that I took with the orbs were underneath this tree right here, but there were 2 of them, 2 orbs. And then when the picture finally came out, the 2 ladies.
Is this a message for the living or purgatory for the dead?
I don't know. You know, I could speculate. I do know that people tend to draw to them what is a match for the kind of thinking they have.
Now, when you get into an evil spirit, it will perhaps start as those type of things, but it will progress and get into things that go way beyond that type of phenomenon.
There's one that looks like a lady. Then you remember seeing that one I told you looked like a mother?
Yes.
The thing that I'm being bothered with right now is infiltration in the phone system.
So people who tend to be afraid are kind of a magnet for people who feed on that.
Yeah, because I got almost 18 hours worth of recording on here.
And a lot of the mind can be brought into this in areas where you go in and you find, me as a medium will go into, and they say they're being possessed or the house is possessed. A lot of it is actually them being open to spirit, which means that they've basically opened their own doorway.
The common connections with spirits can be sensory, auditory, or visual.
Yeah, I'm recording.
And you'll hear it all change.
It's okay. I don't hear anything now. What? What did you say?
You hear
What did
it?
you say?
See, she's talking. They're talking, but it's not him. But I thought it was him, but it was not. I was hearing them talk. And so then I say, what did you say? And he said, I said nothing. And here it was them talking, but at the time I couldn't understand them.
So you don't go and meet them, basically they come and meet you. And it's what we call a blending. It's a blending of spirit, our spirit with their spirit.
It's as if the animal can smell or feel the fear of the person, and so they attack them.
Are you there?
This is gonna sound crazy, but so if you're afraid of a ghost, and the ghost might like come after you more or something, or no?
Possibly.
Because it's an attraction kind of thing.
Right, right.
I don't know what he's saying. I mean, it's foreign language to me. I don't know. I mean...
And again, it's discipline with this as to how much the sitter, the trance sitter that's sitting, allows that person to come forward. Full trance would be totally overtaken where the person would actually stand up, I think would be of the spirit that came into that person.
When a person becomes empathic, they begin to act like a host for those on the other side, a conduit for entities or spirits, usually intercepting messages. But as it accelerates, the empathic host can take on the emotions and feelings of these spirits, and in some ways become controlled by them. Unexplained vocalizations progressed over the years, getting louder, and some gradually more understandable, as if the spirits were learning how to communicate with her. But this was not friendly chit-chat. This was an angry spirit out to harm in any way it could. Judy has reported grey mists in the house, doors slamming, and has even been badly scratched by something that still lingers in this world. She had an entire wall dedicated to the documentation of her encounters with these spirits, categorized by name, type, and event.
And I thought, well, if they're going to disturb my life, why shouldn't I tell? And to pinpoint, there's so many on here,
Well, like, for example, that one.
Okay.
So that's where, like, most really good trance mediums will sit with one particular person. Like I said to you earlier, like I have a nice English gentleman called Nigel. He sits with me all the time, and because he comes in, he goes out when I ask him to, he's got a very good, if you like, he's able to use my voice box better.
It says here the recording gave proof of the evil spirit of being in control. He was giving commands to others what he wants, but would now allow of being told no.
Again, you have the law of attraction and the law of invitation. When they come in these places and try, well, let's go out to the cemetery and do the Ouija board or whatever, a seance, because they think they're going to draw a spirit out of here, and they end up drawing something that's not a spirit, and that's how a lot of cemeteries get haunted and stuff. You know, if you remember, she talked about small rotted flesh. Yeah, that's a sign of an inhuman spirit. Inhuman spirit.
I went back to the audio clip that she'd played for me earlier that was unintelligible. It still felt like there was something there, so I slowed it down. Still nothing. And then I reversed it.
Does this recording seem to say murder? In further conversation with Judy, it was revealed that a murder-suicide had taken place in the house. A distraught, crazed husband killing his wife and daughter, and then hanging himself in the living room. Recently, Judy demolished the old structure and erected a new home. She had hopes that things would be gone, but the hauntings got worse, unleashing even stronger energy when the earth filtering the deep for 150 years was disrupted.
That's a small spirit.
How do you know when to take these photographs? You just feel like?
When I would go out, I could feel and I could tell where they was at.
Can you feel that now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can tell where they're at.
Are they here in the house, or are they outside?
They're outside now. They used to be in the house, but they're out. They're not no more because they're not allowed.
When people commit an act, terrible act like murder, something that is considered a real bad sin, sometimes they can attract an evil spirit.
They are not allowed in the house. They try, but they back off. There's a man right here, see him, and his arm goes up and he's holding something.
Let's, for instance, say that a home where a murder took place, that the spirit of the person who was murdered is there because phenomenal is occurring, and in reality it's an evil spirit that was attracted by the act that is in the home, pretending to be the spirit of the murder victim.
See him, and his arm goes up and he's holding something.
And it does that to gain your sympathy, your compassion for it, to get a foothold on you. And then once it's done that, it kind of works its way into your life, and then you got real problems.
Oh my God. And these are not anything that you've manipulated or touched?
Oh no, just go outside.
You don't know about Photoshop probably or anything like that?
No, I just use my digital camera and I go where I feel. And you can see
what Judy revealed next at first looked like nothing more than a glitch in the image. But this glitch or distortion did have shape. Like most of the things encountered on this journey, when spirits pierce the veil to this world, it often starts as a subtle peek through from the other side.
But I thought, until Mike here showed me, I know that's his mouth and his chin. But there's no, that looks like a flagpole, but there's no flagpole on that property. There's none.
There's no paint on the building or anything like that?
No. But the thing it is, I thought these were eyes, but it's not. It's his nose. If you look real careful, there's an eye there and an eye there. When I took this picture, he was not fully developed.
Could they have disrupted the soil, releasing this creature into the present?
Okay, you're giving me goosebumps here.
So he was not fully developed there. And then the next picture, it all changes. Flagpole gone, and now this is sitting there. Okay. And that's all gone. And now?
Is that a tree or anything like that? Or?
No.
It is as if the entity, as it materializes, turns to seek out its host, turning to the camera, turning to Judy. Judy believes it is the land that is haunted, and any structure on the land will become haunted also.
I'm just really careful, you know. You know, you can let up your guard and get yourself in trouble. But these spirits are not stupid, and, you know, so they'll play games with your head.
I can feel spirits outside. They're not inside. But what they're trying to figure out and what they're curious about is you. They're wanting to find out what you got and what you're doing. You might feel something brush up against you, but they're going to leave Mike alone, they're going to leave her alone. You're the person. You're the one.
I wanted to find out more about what Judy had captured with her camera. I had seen that image before in some obscure textbook on mythology.
Azazel is represented in the Book of Enoch as the personification of wickedness. He revealed to the people the secrets of witchcraft and corrupted their manners.
When I took this picture, he was not fully developed.
Our world is filled with spirits. There are the evil spirits, and then there are those very good spirits.
Because the truth is, none of us is alone. We're always connected with each other. I mean, what every person thinks affects everybody else.
Hello?
Not all spirits mean us harm. There are those that protect and comfort.
It's very real to experience something that's beyond the physical body, that we all have an influence on each other, that there's a certain responsibility in that as well as a kind of comfort in it, I think.
The house was named Tuckaway when it was enlarged by Mr. and Mrs. George Philip Meyer in 1910.
Here in this place, the energy was welcoming and warm.
It was a friends book club, and there were tons of people. And I knew nothing about the house, what the house was about.
It's because it is tucked away in a forest of trees.
But sometime during the night, I'd come upstairs to use the restroom.
3 o'clock in the morning is the spiritual hour.
And I was standing over there at the landing.
Was once considered to be an Indian burial ground and a holy place.
And I remember looking up around here on this wall, and I started feeling like just very light-headed.
This was a salon in the Midwest where artists, writers, actors, playwrights, movie stars, scientists.
I felt like I was in a different time period or something. All of a sudden, I got the biggest chill that I've ever felt in my life. My friend Jennifer walked out of the restroom and she said, "What? What was that?" I said, "I don't know, I just felt this chill go through my back and out my front." And she said, that was Nellie.
She became a palmist, and she read people's hands. She was born in 1862, and she started working for her church at church bazaars in the summer, dressed as a gypsy.
She told many people of wondrous things that happened. Childless people were told they were going to have children, and they did. She predicted many things, because it's true, any change you have in your life on a mental, spiritual, physical, emotional realm will show up as a line on the palm of the hand.
With research and continuing practice, she became a great reader of hands. She was sworn to secrecy when she read the president's hands and the first lady's hands frequently at the White House. That would have been Franklin Roosevelt. This is the library, and this is where Mrs. Meyer read the poems of the famous clientele.
A formal request from the Library of Congress asking for Nellie's work.
Franklin Roosevelt and his wife, Eleanor, asked that 137 autographed photographs be placed in the Library of Congress on permanent display. She was often a guest in the White House. This was no 900 psychic. This woman treated her art as a science, and she helped the FBI figure the science of fingerprinting. She had 2 secretaries just to handle her daily correspondence.
It's very scientific, the hand. The left hand is the past or your potential, and your right hand is what you're doing with it, unless you're opposite hand oriented. And when I feel her energy, I mean, she's showing me something. Lots of tears were shed in this room. Lots of laughter was in this room. Great secrets, great world secrets. It's very interesting. I believe that when she spoke to the political people, it's like the ancient oracles, where the people that were heads of state would come and ask the oracle. But this was a different time and a different place. This was like the modern day, at the turn of the century oracle.
And people sought her as an advisor and took her quite seriously. She didn't promote anything of the Delphic or the psychic, ever, because it would have a negative connotation. She considered what she did a science, an exacting science, and she wrote a best-selling book in 1939 called Lion's Paws, about the paws of the lions of society. The articles of the day said that they had the greatest collection of friends to be found anywhere in the world, and I don't think that's an exaggeration. My profound gratitude to Mrs. Meyer from Joan Crawford, Walt Disney, famous choreographer, School of Dance, Ruth Page. Miss Page has bothered to write me a dozen times about the significance of Tuckaway. Rudy Valley, Doug Fairbanks Jr., Rachmaninoff gave a concert here in 1941 in this room. Walt Disney gave original cartoons drawn by him to her. This is the last house Carol Lombard was ever in her life, and this is the last photograph she left, was Mrs. Meyer before her death. She was warned at that door of impending danger. She was here on a war bond drive, spoke to many thousands of people from the circle. She didn't heed Mrs. Meyer's warning. She took a flight out to LA that afternoon, and it crashed, and she was killed. One of the most glamorous, and from Indiana as well, from Fort Wayne.
There is no linear time in this home. It's truly, when you walk in this house, you're in present time. The past, present, future happen all at one time. And that's a beauty. That's the most absolute beauty of this home. And this house loves parties. This is a place for people to gather. It's like a Paris salon.
Albert Einstein came to this house, a skeptic, according to the press of the day, and left with a certain sense of wonder. I think the entire house is haunted. I'm even afraid to go to the basement, Dan, at 3 o'clock in the morning. No way. 3 o'clock in the morning is the spiritual hour.
Yeah, no, it was like something came in from behind me. No, I don't ever mess with, no.
We agreed to meet here, and I took her arm and we strolled around the house. She pulled some pictures out of the interiors taken in 1922. She was embarrassed by the condition of it, and she wanted to check me out. Well, finally she produced 2 keys and we walked in these double doors together. But it felt like I was entering another time zone. There were trunks and boxes in it. And it was all about to go to the trash if I hadn't gotten here right at the 11th hour. A very important piece of Indiana history would have disappeared. A woman's entire life is here in papers and photographs. She passed away here in 1944. I did rent rooms for almost 3 decades, but oftentimes ghost stories would happen to people who never met, who were from different parts of the world, but they would repeat the same thing. So there was almost a scientific feel to my life. Sightings. For years, we saw Mr. Meyer standing at the top of the stairs in a white linen suit. He wore and used a monocle, which hung around his neck. He had a white mustache. I mean, everybody saw him. Then he seemed to disappear after a while. I'm very social. I have lots of parties. My father was a pilot in World War II, and he doesn't even believe in ghosts. He saw him. One bedroom belonged to Mrs. Meyer, and later to her niece Ruth, who sold me the house. It was the hardest to rent. Several people experienced the same phenomena. One girl felt paralyzed while all the bed sheets were pulled out from underneath her and danced around the room, only to wake in horror the next morning and find the bedclothes draped all around the room. I was watching TV on this floor, and one young man appeared at 2 o'clock in the morning and said, "I can't stand it anymore." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, there's a face in the ceiling," and it winked at me, and then somebody said, "Hey." I think the entire house is haunted. It's a feeling, that's all I can explain. It can be a very welcoming home, but it can be moody too. I walked in this room and saw like the whole room I thought was a fire because it was so misty, like smoke, and it wasn't smoke. When the house is babysat whenever I'm out of town, I have another property on the coast, on an island. Anybody staying here, and there always is somebody here, they call me up in the middle of the night and they tell me what they're perceiving. And it's the same thing. We hear cocktail music. We hear the piano being played.
Nellie Simons Meyer made her international reputation reading palms, and the home in which she resided continues to radiate her presence. Images of her have been seen by many, not in a threatening way, but as a signal of comfort and warmth.
I closed down February 12th, 1992 was my last day of operation.
Once a bustling hub of entertainment and laughter, it now stands silent, but for one voice.
But after my son had committed suicide, May 17th, 1992, I kind of threw the towel in. I didn't feel much like doing anything. I was in bed for 3 years. My friends picked me up to take me grocery shopping, and I had to feed the cats. I didn't have as many cats then as I have now. I think I had 7 cats. I lost 42 pounds in a very short time, but I stayed in bed for 3 years.
The home of happiness. That's how Carl Lemmy Jr., president of Universal Pictures, described the Rivoli Theater in 1927.
So that you can go on the patio. I'll be sure the cats don't go on the patio. Here.
As the theatre sits empty, the sound of one man's footsteps echo within its crumbling walls. Charlie stands vigil over the once grand theatre, still hopeful that it will be resuscitated.
In the house. Believe you me, it's a task here with 31 cats I have. There's 9 next door. There's a few that I haven't named yet. They're other personality traits.
The last patron has long since exited, save for one, Lady Rivoli, a spirit Charlie sees regularly, appearing in the first few rows of the theatre, as if waiting for the start of the picture show.
Jonas Chrysostomus Wolfgangus Theophilus Mozart was his name. Believe it or not. by Charlie Chilchian. Well, I was at the rewind bench, as I am right now. I saw in my peripheral vision the lady who was my administrative assistant, also lived in the building. And I asked her for my yellow handled screwdriver. And she didn't get the screwdriver that I asked for, and I put the unit down, and I turned around and she was gone. I said, Sarah, my administrative assistant, you were standing right next to me. I asked for the yellow handled screwdriver, why didn't you give it to me? And she said, Charles, I never left the house. And as I thought about it, I never heard the projection booth door open or close. I saw her as clearly then as I can see you, Dan, in my peripheral vision holding the camera in your hand.
What is amazing about Charlie is his gift of recalling details to the second and the grain. His wit is sharp, his mind sound, making his tales of the hauntings even more compelling.
Every night at precisely 3 o'clock.
If you look at this is a face.
Photographs began to come forward.
The spirit makes itself known.
There's a definite face right here.
This mist often takes on human form.
The first day of operation was October 15th, 1975. It was, the building was constructed by Universal Studios, opened September 15th, 1927.
From its opening, strange occurrences have been reported.
So this is where you see Lady Rivoli. She comes out to the theater.
She has a tendency to always emerge from the right side of the auditorium. A vague form of a lady begins to appear just before 3 o'clock in the morning. That exact time, there's something in the auditorium also moves. Charles Richard Chilchian, the first, the last, and the only one. Thank God for that.
And where are we now? What?
We are at the Rivoli Theater on East 10th and Dearborn, between Dearborn and Gray Street, 3155 East 10th.
Okay.
The building was constructed in 1925, finished, open for business September 15th, 1927. Constructed for Universal Studios under the auspices of Carl LaMail Jr., who was the producer of the first Frankenstein film and the first Dracula film. When I hired a cashier, if the building did not like the cashier for one reason or another, the hot water faucet in the mop room turned off by itself. By itself. If you turned it on, it would turn off by itself. Mm-hmm. When the cashier was gone, it was just fine. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, because
Wait, we're gonna have. All right. I don't know how to get the cats back in the house once they're on the patio. I'll just go through the consequences.
Look at that tail working. It's cool.
When I first came into the building and I heard stories from those who worked in this building in the late 20s and came in as came in as patrons in the 30s, I thought they were a little off the wall. They were not playing with a full deck until I experienced it myself. Another interesting thing is that everybody who was in this building, including Universal Studios, had problems with maintenance. Everybody. Everybody. They could not get anything repaired except yours truly.
Another face above yes, there's faces. Here's the eyes, here's the nose, here's the mouth. You have to see it. There's a definite face right here. I think what she's telling me is that the people or spirits that are here don't mind us being here.
No, not at all.
They actually want us, and they want the communication with us.
All right, let's try. But you must remember, she she loves one person, and one person only, and I never mock her. One other thing you have to remember is that she has to have access to everything down here. When we're down here, we're occupying the space she might want to traverse. Every night at precisely 3 o'clock.
You don't think that'd be a problem if we just set the cameras up?
Well, the spirit makes itself known. It's not a physical problem. If you expect to see what you want to see, then everything should be upstairs.
Yes,
Charlie. You don't see me touching anything, do you?
That's pretty
I'm
weird.
Right here.
No.
Nobody's touching it, right?
No.
As the investigation team set up the remote infrared camera, a specialized unit for recording in low-light conditions, an electrical phenomenon occurred, a foreshadowing of events ahead.
Nobody's touching it, right? Charlie? No. About 15 seconds before 3 o'clock, there's a form that begins to develop. A form. It's a haze that begins to develop on the right side of the auditorium. Auditorium right.
With the remote in place, the goal was to gain access to the auditorium for evidence.
Wait.
Oh, yes.
The team was being led by an incredible urge to see this phenomenon firsthand.
As we moved further into the auditorium, it was like we had found the sunken hulk of the Titanic.
In the distance, in the lobby of this once grand palace, was the outline of a rusting automobile.
I've seen her. About 6 rows from the front. It's a haze that begins to develop on the right side of the auditorium. Auditorium right.
Was this here in the same tradition as the House of Blue Lights, a coffin for Lady Rivoli? Had the team discovered something grislier than they expected?
Precisely 3 o'clock precisely 3 when the second hand hits 12. You can see the outline of a lady, and then a few seconds after that, it collapses completely. But while it's intact, there's a noise in the auditorium. There's something in the auditorium also moves. At least you can hear it.
And then, as if to say enough, Charlie ended the search for the lady.
And if I'm lying to you, my tongue should be cut from my mouth, from my head.
I can
If
feel
I'm lying to you, my fingers should go paralyzed in the next 5 years. No one knows, only the spirit.
Have we witnessed the spirit of Lady Rivoli, or simply moonbeams piercing through holes in the crumbling roof of this once magnificent structure?
That's her arm, and here's an arm, her head.
Why does she appear here at the same time and place?
I'll tell you where she's buried. On the west side of the building, close to the sidewalk. There's one casket still in this ground. This was an old Indian burial ground. This city had many Indian burial grounds. It was an Indian city, like many cities throughout the entire nation. And she likes me. I've seen her. Nothing really can be proven. Nothing. The only absolutes are death and the speed of light. Everything else can be disputed. Everything. Even the spirit can be disputed. This was 3 o'clock.
What was great and magnificent is now on its last stand against the elements. Unsafe for human habitation, the Rivoli breathes its last breath.
Pride today So tomorrow you can say, what a lovely yesterday.
An imp is a demon from hell. I can feel spirits outside. They're not inside. But what they're trying to figure out and what they're curious about is you. They're wanting to find out what you got and what you're doing. But they don't like what you're doing. They like it here. They're going to leave Mike alone. They're going to leave her alone. You're the person. You're the one.
You took the back roads. How are you? I've heard about you, Marilyn Essex. Nice to see you.
This is Dan. Hi. Nice to meet you. Owner of the jail.
That's what I've heard. I'm very curious about this now.
We are too.
And
After
you and
we
your
had last
brother
time.
live there.
Yep.
I understand.
Up there is the day 1879. When jails were built back then, the sheriff usually lived in the jail. So the front part of the jail is usually a living quarters, and then in the back, the jail cell area. Put the prisoner in, and then that way they can't jump out when you open the door.
In areas where you go in and you find, me as a medium will go into, and they say they're being possessed or the house is possessed, a lot of it is actually them being open to spirit, which means that they've basically opened their own doorway, and an easy way of doing that is using, like a crystal ball, tarot cards, just messing around. They can actually open a doorway up.
No, that's the people would say, hey, we'd be glad to spend the night here, and they never would do it. We've known that there has been people that's hung themselves. In fact, one night I stopped a guy from hanging himself, so I know there's been people that's hung themselves in here.
It has been said that the closer you get to the spirit world, the more present time seems to blend with nature. Things that seemed odd now feel normal.
Do you ever move around up here and all of a sudden get this really close claustrophobic feeling? Sometimes that's the other side.
Awareness is heightened, and light bends and distorts with the mist of those wanting connection with the living.
The ghosts, yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
We'll lock them up if they...
Well, the one that said crybaby?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Air takes on weight, and a sort of reverent silence becomes the sound.
Has there ever been a fire in this building?
No.
Whew. It's like a really fiery spot right there. The minute I came up and stepped in where it made the noise, it's like a cinder flew in my eye. It's like really weird, like a really hot energy. It was just an assault energy. That's what it felt like the second I came up the stairs. There's strong impressions in here. Yes. There's really strong impressions in here. Troll. It's almost like an impish troll type energy. It's like I don't know what it is. It's a real, it's coming from way down under. Well, there's been many people held in here there's strong impressions in here. Touch that bar. Touch right in there.
That's just vibrating.
It's just totally vibrating. That's wild.
It's like an electrical charge.
Yeah.
Thread.
Yeah. There's so much energy of people.
Picking up 1930, 31. It's almost like a bad boy wannabe, like a baby-faced Nelson type of person was in here.
John Dillinger and his gang was in here back in the 30s.
That glamorous kind of, they glad to get hold of something.
I feel like he's trying to not take me over, but, you know, make me feel what he feels. So, okay, you become me. You feel this. Do it. And I don't want that.
And I get a combination of people standing there looking out, wanting to be free, to people being chained there.
I think this is what I was pulling from down in the very bottom. He's getting angry.
You okay?
Horrible. What he felt.
Is he still bothering you?
Yes.
Wow.
Did you feel it go by you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Energy that's stirred up. Yeah, there's 3 or 4 levels of things going on.
Very strong.
We ask this shaft of light to go deep down into the center of the Mother Earth and cleanse and heal this level of this energy.
As if on instinct, Marilyn begins to pray for protection and healing.
And whatever is coming up from the underground.
What was this energy that was released?
We ask this shaft of light to go deep down into the center of the Mother Earth and cleanse and heal this level of this energy. It was just an assault energy. That's what it felt like the second I came up the stairs.
They're still telling me no, get out.
And whatever's feeding off of the pain and the suffering and the trapped fearful energy that was in here is what's saying no. Especially when you live in a vibration like this, it can overcome you at weak moments.
I had a sense that we should leave then, but there was
something more that was pulling them down deeper into this place of confinement. And seemingly, another spirit answers. This place felt as if it was holding more than the memories of those who chose to turn on society, as if to shackle the souls who have spent their last breathing moments in this place, only to be heard once again by the living.
Never any escape from here without help. So it was a very secure place. The walls are solid granite.
What'd you just say?
I'm getting that pungent smell. That smell followed, and now it's back down here.
No, you don't have to.
This reminds me of the room in Central State where we saw the pictures on the wall, and we saw the metal bed, and it's the same bad energy. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. There's death in here. This is a place. It's not just like despair, it's a place of death. There's at least 3 people, it feels like, that died in here, that actually died. Oh, yeah. Troll. It sounds like an MP troll type energy. It's like a, I don't know what it is. It's a real. You still be my bodyguard?
Let me
You got my back? Yeah. It's this whole side of the building again that's got something going on over here.
Yeah, it turns clear to very end.
Where does it go turn into? We don't know.
Then it turns, goes clear back to the other end. It's all hollow.
Wow. Really?
So yeah, from there on over. So,
wow.
And we can't find a way in.
So what do you mean you can't find a way in where?
Well, I mean, it goes. Said, well, they can't have people like in the dungeon anymore, and they can't have people.
Unexplained audio interference seems to signal an encounter with the spirit world.
Whoa, guys, whoa. Okay, let me fix that down here. Whoa.
Some unknown force unexpectedly attacks Judy.
Sorry. Get shoved out? Yeah, we'll push that through. Sorry. Anyone here?
And then the EVP commanding.
It was just an assault energy. It was just an assault.
Temporarily recovering and on her way out, she is attacked again. Are we witnessing the energy that Marilyn sensed earlier?
I knew he carried it, but in all the time we worked together, I had never seen Tracy use his holy water.
Even though it would be weeks before the footage was analysed, that human sense of danger was on full alert. A few months later, medium Larry Brown consented to a trance and was asked what was experienced by the team in the dungeon of the Hartford City Jail.
For what you have encountered and what you have seen, is what we class as familiars. Nature's power. These are earth energies, the dark times. An imp would be an accomplice. They would protect their chosen one. He protects that which was condemned. That person who would have been condemned. My friend, may I say, this is only the beginning. Of your journey.
Yeah, it's an expedition. 2221.
That's too new. He's got it's a 96. That's too new.
1023 as well. 2221.
Want to head over to Bozarth?
Yeah.
Okay, we're heading over.